Hey, welcome to Two Cents, everybody. This is the week ending December 20th, 2015. As you're well aware, Star Wars just opened, or if you're in the future, this is the weekend Star Wars opened, which maybe is still biggest box office holder ever. Probably not.
Do you
Um,
really think it's going to be the biggest movie of all time?
at right now, yeah, maybe.
I don't know.
Like
I mean, you look
until
at the
maybe the Justice League movie, like the huge like tentpoles, like maybe Avengers Infinity War, because that's gonna be shot entirely in
I'm
IMAX.
curious what the big drop off is going to be next weekend.
There's what the fuck do you mean drop off?
I mean,
Next
yeah,
weekend's Christmas.
yeah.
Everyone's going on winter break. They
Hmm.
have all a week. You know how many people I know that haven't seen it? You know how many people are gonna see it again, me included. I'm planning to watch it again next week. Like Christmas is gonna. Everyone knows it's one of the biggest days of the year at the box office. It's gonna be huge. This whole, not just next weekend, next week. Let's run off the numbers. Pre-sale, it made 100 million.
No, it
Thursday,
made around 60.
no, no,
Yeah, like
well,
57. Yeah, Friday it's
no.
like
Fandango announced 100 million
okay, well,
before
okay,
Thursday.
here's the thing. Friday that includes Thursday grosses that was 120.5 million.
Yeah, Thursday alone was 57 for midnights.
Saturday was 68.7. Today
Yeah,
the guesstimate is 48.8.
which makes it 238.
Yeah, but 48.8, that's a $20 million drop off. That's a pretty big drop.
It's because it's Sunday. That
Yeah.
doesn't count.
It's,
Everyone saw it on Thursday, Friday, and
yeah,
Saturday.
no, yeah, and those are the big days. So now that everyone has seen it, more or less, I know that you know people that still haven't seen it, but a lot of the people I know have seen it already. So
A lot of people I know
it'll
want to see
have
it
good
again.
momentum, but I don't know how well, if the drop
What's
is
opening
probably.
next week? Besides the indie fair,
Mhm.
besides The Revenant and fucking Animalicia, if that's out right now, and The Hateful Eight, all these, to put it nicely, small movies aren't going to compete against this in the same way that the Chipmunks Road Trip didn't. That made 15 million against a 75 million dollar budget. That Sisters movie made like 14. I think The Hunger Games made like 25.
It's already done its business.
Yeah, but I'm just saying, like, there's nothing coming out unless you count the Hateful Eight that could potentially even take money away from this.
Well, I don't know. I'm just not sure it's going to top Avatar. Is
It's
what I'm
already
saying.
made $500 million
Yeah, but
globally.
Avatar had momentum. That's what kept it going. Whereas it's a big tentpole. It's going to have the normal drop off, unless next week it has a very low percentage drop. Then maybe it could do it. But because it's,
I predict next week at the box office in the U.S. alone, it's going to make 150.
I don't know. Maybe we'll see.
Because you got to remember how many people out there you include. Well, you saw this one in 3D that saw it and they're like, "Well, let me see it in 3D now," or
Well,
maybe I want to see an IMAX.
well,
Maybe I
some
want to see an
people
IMAX
don't
3D.
have a choice because almost every multiplex they're really shoving those 3D screenings. Like, I've been walking past some of the multiplexes around, and 2D showings are sold out, and there's not that many of them. There's probably like
Well, yeah. Why
at a
would
theater with 25 screens, they've only got two of those that have 2D showings on there. So Disney is really
it's not just
strong holding
That's
for
not
those 3D
Disney though.
showings.
Why would a theater want to show 2D screens when they make $4 extra per ticket on the 3D? It costs the theater nothing, and then they make more money.
Well, no, that's not necessarily their call, and there's fewer people that would rather see it in 3D too. So I don't. It just really it seems kind of it seems kind of like a dick move because they're really shoving it down people's throats and giving them no options there, or very
Well,
few.
we're gonna talk about Disney being a dick in a minute here, but so it broke all these records. The only one it didn't break, as you know, is the global. It made 517, which is short of Jurassic World. It got like 528, I believe. And the reason that there's a difference there is because Jurassic World opened in China and this one hasn't. And it's funny, or maybe it's on purpose. But jumping to the next news item here, Disney is launching an over-the-top service with Alibaba in China to build anticipation for their Disneyland Shanghai. And Alibaba, that's like the global version of Amazon. Like everywhere besides America, it is Amazon, and they have the same stuff. They make movies and they like ship produce to your house and all that shit. So the service is going to cost $125 a year. It offers like all the Disney and Pixar films along with a marketplace for buying merchandise and information about this resort that's coming soon. A lot of stuff. So I have to assume that they're doing this. So I don't know exactly when this service is going to start streaming. It doesn't matter because we don't have access to it anyway. But perhaps they're just doing like a on-demand premiere instead of theaters. They would make 100% of the profits that way.
Right.
So Quentin Tarantino went on Howard Stern. I think it was Thursday,
Mm-hmm.
and he was making accusations that Disney is extorting him. What happened is he had secured the Hateful Eight to play at the Cinerama Dome in Hollywood. It's a historic theater. It's like the only one left in the world. It's for a format that died. Anyway, it was like the original IMAX,
Yeah, doesn't
right?
Seattle have a Cinerama theater, I think?
I don't think so. I think there's like one in Central America, and then there's one in the UK,
No.
maybe. But I think there's only three left standing. Um, but yeah, so Tarantino loves Cinerama. He loves that ArcLight theater. He apparently even like shouts out to it in the opening credits. Like instead of just saying in 70 millimeter, it probably says in
Yeah, it has
Cinerama
the
also.
Cinerama logo on there,
Yeah.
apparently.
And so he had made a deal, or not him, but the Weinstein brothers made a deal with ArcLight Theaters to show Hateful Eight starting Christmas at the Cinerama Dome. Like it was going to have an exclusive 2 week run. It was going to be special. Finally a 70 millimeter movie. It's going to be there, and that's something that always happens. But Disney came in and said, "Look, motherfuckers, we just made you install these dual laser projectors. You have the Dolby 3D. You wanted Star Wars, you're going to play Star Wars. You can't play it anywhere else for 3 weeks. You have to hold it in that Cinerama Dome." They came in and swooped up the rights that Tarantino and co already had. And so his film's not going to be playing there, I don't think, until like New Year's.
Yeah, I wanted to see it in that theater,
I
but
wanted to see it
now,
in that theater
yeah, now I'm not gonna. I'm gonna see it in a much smaller multiplex screen because,
because of Disney.
yeah,
And the irony here is Disney owned Miramax. Kill Bill's Volume 1 and Volume 2,
yeah,
Pulp Fiction. These movies made Disney money. I
yeah,
mean, obviously, he wasn't working for them directly, but they're shitting on one of their golden children.
I don't think that Disney is necessarily approaching it intently like that. It's probably purely from a business sense, but I've heard stories where they're just kind of being dickish distributors and throwing ridiculous demands of how they want their Marvel movies played or the Star Wars
No, they're
stuff
being
played, and
vindictive.
they're strong holding like how the theaters are going to put this out there by threatening not to show
Yeah.
the movies, and that's
According to
yeah,
Tarantino, Disney said that if they didn't show um, Star Wars and Cinerama Dome for these 3 weeks, they were gonna pull it from every ArcLight chain,
yeah.
which is a big deal in the LA area.
You
It's
know,
where I saw it. I went to the ArcLight Pasadena.
it's really really scary that just that Disney's doing that they're that powerful to
Well, they
really
are the empire,
stronghold them.
so
Yeah.
it makes sense.
I mean, like I love the products that the company puts out, but yeah, the business side of it, I'm really really hating more and more as stuff continues to happen like this.
We opened last week's episode with the big reveal, the big announcement for Hateful Eight. It wasn't that big. It was just that it's gonna be showing on 100 screens.
Hmm.
The pre-sale's already up, and none of them are historic theaters. It's not like the Arrow or the Egyptian Theater or the TCL or anything like that, because Star Wars is playing at these kind of theaters.
Yeah, no, I know for the Spectrum because I had to ask them which room they were going to put it in, and it's in one of their
Like
medium,
120 seaters
yeah,
type
one of their like
things.
medium-sized stadium seating rooms with a screen that is probably no bigger than the size of the New Beverly. So that's where
When
I'm
you
going to be seeing it, and I'm going to have to sit up close, probably in like the fourth row, just to
uh-huh.
get uh get a sense of a big image. But
Well, I mean,
that
it's a 70 millimeter print and projector, but it's a regular
yeah,
screen.
it's weird that it's. I know that the room that they're putting it in, and that's the theater that where when everything else was still 35 and they had one digital projector, that was the room where they had only that digital projector. So I don't know. To me, that's just kind of a weird choice that that's the one where they're going to put a film projector in. But God, it's a bummer. In every major room at the theater I'm going to, yeah, Star Wars is keeping its slot in there. So
Like I
it's just a
saw,
bummer.
maybe it's not, maybe it still is, but I saw a picture on Twitter where someone took a picture of the little digital marquee at the ArcLight Hollywood, and every single one said Star Wars. At one of the only like indie favorite theaters in LA that gets everything. and that's all they're showing. They're showing the Disney
In
films.
every single room?
That's what it looked like in the theater in the picture I saw. Maybe this was Friday morning. I don't know, but I wouldn't be surprised if it's still like that. Because, like I said, what else is out right now? Like you probably saw everything you wanted to see before this weekend.
Yeah.
Like there's the couple of things that are left there, but they're gonna be playing until the like if they're done playing already, they're gonna play again after the Oscars are announced.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, it bums me out, honestly.
Kind of sad.
But I'm just glad I get to see the movie in 70 though, and I hope it's good at the very least. So there is that.
I might just wait until the dome, to be honest. Like I don't want to pay the same ticket price for a standard theater because I mean not to be a
You
snob
got
or
one like down the
anything.
street from you.
Yeah,
Yeah,
but not to be. Well, I'm not going to that Edwards though. I hate that theater. Um,
that's not a bad theater. I like that one.
I don't. The parking sucks there.
Yeah,
It's
no,
outdoor
definitely.
shopping mall, so you have to search for parking for forever. But like the clientele at the ArcLight are just nicer. You get assigned seating. You're in a historic theater.
Hmm.
It's a huge screen. I don't want to go to a multiplex to pay because let's be honest, this movie's like 3 hours with the intermission and overture and all that shit. Like it
Hmm.
literally has an intermission. I don't want to do that at a megaplex. Like, what's the point? What's the point of seeing a road show at where I can see the Limax?
Yeah, no, I especially that's where the dome is just ideal because you really want that
Yeah,
old-fashioned epic
like
feel there. Like that would be the best place to go, and
I
I'm
saw the
bummed I
Master
can't.
there with some friends, and like that's where you had to go. It's like you want to see this huge print. Well, go see it on the huge screen
Hopefully, it'll get played there.
eventually.
Yeah.
Yeah. Moving on, Wednesday, something pretty big happened. It had been rumored for a while, DreamWorks was going to move around, Spielberg is going back to Universal, something like that. So what happened is they created the new DreamWorks. It's called Amblin Partners. Spielberg took what was left of DreamWorks, and he got money from Participant, Reliance, and E1 as investors. They're going to be moving to Universal for distribution. DreamWorks Animation is still its own thing. The idea here is that it's like all the family movies are going to be Amblin. All of the other stuff is going to be through the three investors. So it's like one participant movie a year, one Reliance, one well not E1 because they're not major here, but it's like everyone gets their billing, and who knows what Spielberg's going to do. Like BFG is at Disney still. Ready Player
That's the
One's at
last
Warner
one, I
Brothers.
think.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
the last one. Ready Player One is at Warner Brothers. But then after that, everything going forward is going to be Universal. So that's good for them. Um, but like that's kind of exciting. The fact that Amblin's back, like for real, and that's the name that DreamWorks now has.
Yeah, no, I mean, I can't remember when was the last time I saw that logo. Um, for
Was it
Amblin?
Super 8?
Probably, yeah. And I mean, historically, even for Amblin films, they've never had the Amblin logo at the very beginning, have
It's
they?
usually the end. Well,
Yeah.
no, they had the ET logo, like the cool one. But you otherwise, yeah, especially on
Well, no,
TV,
isn't
it
that
was just
what do you
stamped.
mean, like the 20th anniversary ET one, or?
Yeah, where like you actually saw them like pedaling up the moon.
Yeah, that was the Universal one, though.
No, that was
No,
Universal.
no, okay, you're talking about like that is the Amblin logo is basically ET flying over the moon.
Yeah, but for ET, I think for ET's 20th anniversary, they had
They had a
like
custom Universal one.
was it
Yeah, no,
Universal?
I remember that. It was because it wasn't just ET, but it was every movie from Universal that year. Like they would have the Universal logo, and then they would just have ET flying through, and they would do that in theaters. I don't think it made it to when they hit DVD, but I don't. Just a Big Fat Liar and Scorpion King. I remember specifically they had that ET logo.
Bridge of Spies didn't have it.
Th- no, it
I mean,
didn't. It didn't have Amblin on there. No,
no.
that
It's
probably would have
funny.
been weird.
It's funny. Guess who the investors for Bridge of Spies were? DreamWorks,
Yeah,
Participant, Reliance, and Mark Platt. So I mean that the proof was in the pudding back then already.
well, there you go.
Uh, Moving here, Netflix. We talked about this last week. I was talking about like their streaming content and 4K and being a damper on your bandwidth. They announced that they spent the last 4 years working on new encoding for its content to lessen ISP strain. So now streams require 20% less bandwidth, supposedly look the same, if not better. Instead of what they used to do is they had some algorithm that was the same across the board, and now it's like specialized for the content. So if you're watching something animated, lower bandwidth required because it doesn't need the same resolution. You're watching 4K or 3D content, it's more, but it's just to help with net neutrality and clear up the wires and that kind of stuff. And I mean, I haven't watched anything on Netflix since this happened, but I think it's already out there. I think it's already been rolled out, so that's good, especially if you're on a weird company like Charter that wants to charge you more for going over every year.
So it's less bandwidth when it's animated?
Yeah.
I figured it would be more.
Well, I'm not thinking 3D. I'm talking like
Are you talking about like the
2D.
cheap made in Photoshop animated stuff or
No, like the aristocrats, like or aristocrat. I always say crats. It's not a joke. Cats, like the like
oh, the
classic
Disney one?
stuff. Yeah, or like
God,
any
yeah.
like in, any animated stuff. Not 3D, but like the 2D animation
I would have
definitely requires less than HD stuff.
I don't isn't there Fantasia on there? I think.
Maybe.
I mean,
I don't know. They have a
it's just
lot of their classic stuff for sure. Dumbo and Robin
yeah,
Hood
it's weird
and
that I figured you would need more because for some like Fantasia, like it's just so well animated and there's so much detail in the abstractness of some of that animation that I don't know. I figured you would need more just to get all that, but some like Aristocats, which is very dully animated, no, definitely
we
not.
got time on me, if you please.
This Lady
It's
and the
like,
Tramp,
is that Lady in the Tramp?
yeah.
I don't know. I haven't seen
Yeah,
Aristocats.
Aristocats is very, very bland and forgettable. I never cared for it.
I don't know.
Honestly, I don't even remember that movie very
I,
well.
I,
Yeah,
I don't remember it either.
yeah, but Lady and the Tramp, that's amazing racism. That
Well, it's
Siamese
not
song.
just racism. Like, not just that. The whole idea of Lady and the Tramp is fucking like feudal politics. You can't fuck him because he's poor, okay?
I told you this, right? It literally is Walt Disney's version of Knocked Up.
Yeah,
It really is.
it really is.
Yeah,
Well,
it's a great movie though.
you never get the yeah, okay, sure.
Uh,
Even though like in Knocked Up, like it's not that she's rich, it's that she's out of his league. But it's the same concept. Staying on Netflix here for a second, they announced during the latest presidential debate that House of Cards is returning March 4th. They showed a trailer. I did not watch it because I'm not a sycophant. I don't want it spoiled for me. Still doing the whole thing with like the FU USA, the whole Franklin
Yeah.
Underwood tongue-in-cheek thing. Apparently, he hasn't even started. I have ideas of where the season start going. I had him before it ended last season, so hopefully it does what I thought. Because I was not a fan of the third season. Very all dialogue and no plot. Very
I
weird.
really need to catch up. I guess I have till
Good luck with
March
that.
though. So
Yeah,
I mean, there's
mean,
I want to catch up with Game of Thrones and
you got more time for Game of Thrones.
yeah, like I don't know. I'm
Plus, someone
trying,
can't spoil
but-
that for you. It's a weekly basis. Whereas if you aren't done with House of Cards within the week that it's streaming, some dickhole on the internet's gonna ruin it.
Well, I already know all the major stuff for Game of Thrones, like, and that's I just kind of paid attention to it because I don't really care at this point. I don't know. I'm kind of over it, but at the same time, I still want to catch up and watch it.
That's how I was with Scream Queens, which I actually finished. But like after there's like 4 episodes left, and I'm like, I don't want to fucking do this. This show is so weird. And then I sat through it, and it wasn't horrible. It wasn't good. Speaking of which, Billy Lord, Carrie Fisher's daughter, probably no one noticed her in The Force Awakens unless they were looking for her, and that was just me. There was like all this anticipation, like, is it gonna be Leia's daughter? Is she gonna have a big role? No, she was like in the rebel base looking at a whiteboard.
Yeah,
when they're
she's
all
just
talking.
there.
Yeah, she's just there. It's funny because she had the earmuff hairstyle still, the ear buns, which she also did on Scream Queens. Moving to our general topics here, movies, and there's not a lot here because you can't compete with Star Wars. But apparently George Miller originally envisioned Mad Max Fury Road to be in black and white, and also to like have only music and no dialogue. But if it's going to do well at award season, or it most likely is, I hope it does, it might get a re-release from Warner Brothers in black and white next year.
It's tough for me to imagine what that would look like, but I'm not opposed to it. I don't know if have you seen The Mist?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Do you know that there's a black and white version of that?
I mean, that would work because
That's it's actually way
Probably a
better
lot
too.
scarier,
Like
yeah.
I think that's the superior version that
there's like room.
like
Well, you can't
I
really say room.
I've
tone,
seen it
but
like I've seen it available on Amazon. I've started watching it and then seeing that it's in color, I was just kind of like turned off by it because the black and white version is just so much more atmospheric and it's just it's way
whatever
more
the
drab. Yeah.
visual equivalent of room tone is. That's what gray is in a black and white movie.
Yeah, I mean, I
Like, so
could.
if the mist is the same color as negative space, then that would be pretty eerie.
I mean, somehow, yeah, I like the color palette of Fury Road, but somehow I can see it working in black and white as a
I
black and
can't. It's
white
crazy.
west. Yeah, because it is a western. I could see it working in that sense, but
But so much of the movie
you know, it's
is the storm being so kick ass and purple, or like so much sand and like kind of blending with the fucking explosions, you know? Like I'm not planning to rush out and see it again unless they do a 3D re-release in black and white. Then yeah, I would love to see that in
I don't
3D
black and
again.
white doesn't translate well in 3D for me.
No,
Yeah, I don't know why. Just things seem flatter. Like I tried watching Frankenweenie that way, but it didn't. Maybe it's just bad 3D, but it really didn't seem that dynamic to me.
I don't know.
Yeah, but you know, it's I don't. I wouldn't. I thought about just changing it to black and white on my TV and seeing what that's like. But then you know,
It's
I
not the
could.
same.
Yeah, and it's like I could do the same thing with the mist, but it still wouldn't be as good because I
Yeah.
do know that the process of going to make it black and white for the mist it was far more intricate, and Darabont supervised it personally, the transfer for that. So yeah, I'd be interested to see it. But you know, I still love the 3D disc that I have, so I'm cool with that.
Yeah, I need to buy that. Like when I get a 3D TV, it's definitely I
Are you
like
gonna wait
I
for
should
4K?
Yeah, maybe. I mean, it's one of the, I'm scared though. Like they're not making as many 3D TVs as they used to. It's not a bundle-in option that just happens. And so I'm afraid that 3D Blu-rays might not like last either. And there's not much 3D streaming content. And I'm just getting into 3D at home with my Google Cardboard, which isn't nearly the same thing, but is close enough.
Yeah, I think 3D will still be around. Just probably the way that we consume it at home is going to definitely change.
I
Because
think
3D
it's just
Blu-rays,
gonna be
yeah,
VR. Like, to be honest, like once the VR headsets come out, like you're no longer gonna really need a 3D TV. Because why would you want to wear the
I
glasses
mean,
when you're
I could see that because it is a flawed process. You know, just putting on the polarized glasses at home, like you know, we can do better. That's for sure.
well, I mean, they have glassesless 3D. It's just it costs so much money that no one's made a consumer model.
Yeah,
I mean,
it's even
y
not though. It's not as good yet.
no,
Yeah.
yeah, but it's still it's a step in the right direction. I mean,
Hmm.
look at Nintendo's 3DS. Like that's been selling like crazy units for almost 10 years now. And like if you've ever used one, if you don't move your head, like you're sitting stationary and you keep your focal distance the same, like it's pretty astounding how well it's able to work. That sadly almost everyone that owns a 3DS doesn't even use the 3D anyway. Like they literally made a 2DS which lacks the 3D option. But like a big thing about that was that they were gonna have 3D Netflix, which took like I think like 2 years to finally get. And I'm sure they do, but like you have Netflix and a 3D TV, you know how lacking that content is anyway.
Yeah, I mean, it's I don't even know if some of it's still available.
I don't have the menu on my TV
Yeah,
anymore.
like I know that if I scroll through Netflix, like I have to search for individual movies to see if they still have them available in 3D. They don't have a section where it's, oh, you know, 3D
Yeah,
movies, see what you can watch in
exactly.
3D. Yeah, they don't have
Yeah,
that
you
anymore.
have to like search for it. You can probably find it on the actual web portal.
No,
But
I
staying
don't
on,
even think it's not even well categorized or anything. Like online, you can find a list of movies that are in 3D, but you can't find all of them. They don't really make it easy to find.
well, staying on 3D, one of the best movies ever, Terminator 2, is getting a global 3D re-release next year. I guess this is the
Yay.
beginning of James Cameron making that Avatar money again. Or maybe it's just, them trying to capitalize on where Genesis failed.
I mean, that's probably a good opportunity for it. This is
Probably
for
it, right?
China, right?
Yeah, it's like it's
That's
ideas for China, and then it's also getting spread across the globe.
yeah. He said it in the past that he'd be interested in doing a conversion, and if he had to pitch it, then it would be because, well, you know, because China's doing very, very well, and they've never seen it over
Yeah.
there.
Before they got rid of it, I did the Terminator show at Universal Studios, and that 3D looked awesome. I mean, well, it's 4D, but still, like, I have like good faith. I saw the Titanic 3D re-release. That was awesome.
No,
That was
yeah,
really
that's
good 3D.
see, that's where I'm
So,
kind of skeptical here because they're supposed to make this for 2016, right?
yeah.
Titanic took 3 years just to do
Well,
that.
Titanic's also like an hour and a half longer than Terminator 2.
Yeah, but I mean, they had a bigger budget to do that. Like they pulled no stops to get that conversion to be perfect. Whereas this, I think
It's
it's
been 5 years though. I'm pretty sure. I would assume that the post-conversion 3D has progressed a lot since then, or maybe the computers are just faster. It's
I don't
five
know. Yeah,
years.
maybe, but it's really it is there was far more of an artistic effort put into that conversion and just a dependence on the human eye for that. That
Well, I mean, it was a lot easier too, though, because they had the blueprints of the Titanic, and so they already knew the distance between items, and they were lucky enough that on set they were actually measuring stuff the same way that you do when you're actually making a 3D movie. So it was, it was just they had that stuff laying around, and it was like, well, why not do it? And if you've never seen Titanic, you got to watch it in 3D for all the
oh
listeners
yeah,
out
no,
there.
that I have
Yeah,
that
like,
disc. It looks amazing.
for no other reason, 3D tits. Probably the only mainstream good movie that has tits in 3D from an Oscar winner, nonetheless.
Have you seen
So
Drive Angry?
no, I said good mainstream.
It's a fun movie.
I don't have a 3D T. Well,
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure like that's not
I'm
even.
never disrobed before gunfire.
I love Nick Cage. I'd rather watch Vampires Kiss though.
It's I don't know.
I love how
Vampire's
like
Kiss. I hear it's funny to watch the clips on YouTube, but the whole movie itself is kind of
no,
a
yeah,
drag.
it's hard to watch.
Yeah, no.
But like
Drive
that,
Angry is fun trash though.
I love like that's the period of Amber Heard's career where like every single movie she was in, she did full frontal nudity. Like it was a requirement. It was like we're gonna cast you. You got to show him in the film. Is that okay? Yeah. And then like that stopped being a thing when she did the Rum Diary and married Johnny Depp.
She
Or
didn't do it in Pineapple Express.
well, I think it was everything after that because it was like for sure the Informers, Drive Angry, and then there's like one other one in there that I can't think of right now. Michael Fassbender, he's gonna be starring in a Universal movie called The Snowman. It's opening October 13th, 2017. Cool premise. I like it. Kind of reminds me of Insomnia a little bit. It's about a detective working a case he fears is the return of a serial killer on the first snowfall of the season, and he has until the next snowfall to try to figure it out because it's like I think what it is the serial killer leaves the bodies like he already killed them, so the snow piled up, and then when the snow's thawing, you can find him or something like that. I don't know. It sounds cool. I mean, Fassbender's got a lot of stuff going on right now, so it'd be cool to see him star in something that isn't on the stranger side of the spectrum, like a Macbeth adaptation or another fucking Prometheus movie.
Yeah, I mean it's kind of a shame that we're getting him doing another stuff like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, hey, he was in Steve Jobs this year. No one saw it, but hey,
Yeah, surprisingly, because I mean they marketed the shit out of that.
no, they just fucked up the rollout. They did like I think they had like 4 screens.
Hmm.
2 in LA, 2 in New York, and then it bumped up to like 16, and then they went from 16 to 3,000. There was no gradual release. There wasn't a word of mouth like, oh my God, where's that plane? Where can I see it? And they shit the bed, and I don't remember what the competition was, but
I mean,
they
no one's
couldn't
really
compete.
talking about it for Oscar season either.
Yeah, no one at all. Yeah, a lot of people haven't seen it.
I mean, I don't think it was that big either. It definitely felt like a movie that was designed to be that.
Hmm.
It's good. It does some interesting stuff, but it's not that great.
What's funny is if the Sony hacks didn't happen last year, that was gonna probably be Sony's big movie instead of Concussion this holiday season. And that didn't happen
Oh
because
man, poor
of the
Sony.
emails.
By the way, no, Paul Blart is not their
Oh, not anymore.
top
Yeah,
movie.
it's
No,
Pixels.
that's Spectre.
Oh, yep.
Yeah.
Yep. That makes sense. Yeah, forgot about Spectre. Yeah, when the Paul Blart thing was true until Spectre came out.
Also, Hotel Transylvania did better.
Did it? That's so sad.
Better than Paul Blart?
Yeah,
Really? Is it that bad?
I really didn't like it.
No.
I mean, I'm don't plan to ever watch Paul Blart 2, but
Yeah. Okay, I'm looking at it here. Their second highest grossing movie is Hotel
Pixels.
Transylvania 2. Third one is Pixels.
and then it's Paul Blart.
Yeah, Goosebumps, and then Paul Blart.
They did Goosebumps.
Yep.
Oh, it was one of their first TriStar movies. Yeah.
No, it's War Room says it's TriStar, but no, I don't think Goosebumps is TriStar.
I don't know. We're gonna go back to Disney for a second here. There's a lot of Vin Diesel news out there. He's a big guy. Fast and Furious spinoff, maybe. He's gonna have another Riddick movie. He's gonna have this. He's in the new Triple X 3, which Samuel Jackson's in again. Cool. Disney's apparently working on a sequel to The Pacifier, and I can't fault them for that because have you seen that movie?
No, I know what it
It's a
is though.
lot of fun.
Is it?
Like, yeah, like did you see The
Was
Tooth
it that
Fairy?
big?
No, yeah, it's big.
Yeah.
Like what did it make? Like opening weekend, like 70 million or something like that.
Final gross domestically was 113 million.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I mean, for a movie that came out of March, that's big.
No, yeah, that movie's
10
really
years ago.
that movie was good. Like seriously.
Oh, guess who wrote it?
Do I want to know?
Thomas Lennon and Ben Garrett.
Cool.
Yeah.
Maybe they'll be on board on the sequel if this is a real thing. But I'm totally for it. I mean, obviously, he's already Groot in the Guardians of the Galaxy movie, so he has a good relationship with Disney. I'm assuming, even though he didn't get an actual Marvel movie off the ground. But hey, can't win them all. Staying on Disney, they have a theme park new policy. They banned the sale of all guns. Adults can't be in costumes. They've added metal detectors at entryways, and guess why? Because people are bad in the universe.
Was it you that I was talking to about this? That they were bound to fix security at Disney at some point?
No, not me.
You know, I was having this conversation, and I can't remember who said it, but yeah, Disney was bound to, and theme parks in general, to tighten up their security, and here we go. This is it.
I mean, I wouldn't say it's sad, but
It's
like
not it's just it's kind of
it's
a
a good
bummer, you
first
know.
step. I mean, well, think about it this way: if people are shooting up movie theaters and schools and Planned Parenthoods and all that,
I know, which makes me
how long
sad. Like,
until they go to the happiest place on earth?
I,
Because then that
they got to be ready
would
for that. Yeah, but it's
people
really
would fucking flip out over that if someone like went on a massacre on like the Haunted Mansion or something. Like the news would have a
yeah.
field day.
I mean, it. I hate people.
I mean, then again, couldn't you just like take a Glock? Does that go off? I mean, it's plastic. Does that go off in a metal detector? I don't know. I don't want to give any listeners ideas.
No, don't please. I mean, it's depressing that this stuff is just happening more and more often. What the fuck is the matter with people, man?
What's also sad here is that something maybe like Escape from Tomorrow or and Exit Through the Gift Shop can't
Yeah,
happen
it'll
now.
never happen again.
Yeah.
Well,
Well,
no, you
well,
can.
probably you can take in a
Yeah,
camera,
well, you can. You got a
maybe,
camera
but
in your
like,
phone, in your
well,
pocket,
it's
so that's not
different
a problem.
though.
Yeah.
I mean, you can't really stable. Oh, who knows? I mean, I'm sure someone's gonna find another way to film something in a theme park. Moving TV
You
here,
know,
and
Escape from Tomorrow, they wore lavaliers, I think, so it's not like cameras are a problem, really.
moving to TV here, and more specifically the premium side of it. Sean Penn is set to play Andrew Jackson for Lionsgate on HBO. It's their first time working with the home box office. It's going to be a 6-hour miniseries event based on the Pulitzer Prize winning American Lion, which chronicled the Sixth President's career. A good move, I guess. I don't know. It seems like the people involved are really serious about it. I read like this really interesting story where the producer, it was like in the early 70s or the late 70s, Sean Penn was hitchhiking and the producer's father and him as a kid picked up Sean Penn in their car and like he was hitchhiking a ride from them. And then it just so happened that like these two guys sat next to each other in first class on a plane not too long ago, and he pitched him this idea about this show, and then
Lo and behold,
Hollywood
it's happening.
happened. Yeah, exactly. It was like a cool little blurb I saw on the internet. This follows a line of HBO shows. They did the
John
John
Adams.
Adams, yeah,
Yeah.
and I think they had something else. So historic stuff is things that Time Warner likes to do on their TV channel. Maybe it's gonna be good. I don't know. I'm not really big on HBO's miniseries. I don't think I've ever actually watched one besides. Oh, like does the Pacific and Band of Brothers count? Not really. It's like 10 episodes.
No, but it's history. I guess I've seen some episodes of John Adams, and it's good.
Oh yeah, those shows are usually good. Like when they only
Yeah,
have like 6 episodes, like it's usually really good because they have a huge budget.
yeah. So I'm sure it'll cater well to the audience that will see it. I mean, history stuff can be it can be good every once in a while. I've never seen a very bad one.
Same with HBO. Reese Witherspoon is reteaming with John Mark Valley or Valley. Yeah, that's right. For HBO. If the name doesn't ring any bells, he directed Dallas Buyers Club and more.
Wild.
Yeah, I was gonna say to make more sense of the teaming with. He did Wild last year. Did you see that?
Yeah.
It was like one of the best breakup scenes of last year. Reese and her boot. I
I
hate you. gonna throw you off this cliff.
Yeah, I didn't think the movie was bad.
I liked it. It was just
I liked
the
it fine
storytelling's
enough.
kind of
Yeah,
weird. Yeah.
I honestly I forgot it for the most part.
I mean, it's a true story, so that's cool. But yeah, I don't know anything about this show. I do know that he's going to be directing all 7 episodes. It's called Big Little Lies, and it's going to be produced by both of them and written by David E. Kelly. So it's got good talent involved. It's just I didn't look for a plot synopsis for some reason. Maybe it has something to do with lawyers because it's David E. Kelly and it's called Big Little Lies.
No, I'm sure
Yes.
it'll be good. I mean, I wasn't I don't really dislike Wild or Dallas Buyers Club. I mean, he's made some good stuff. I'm sure it'll be good.
Yeah. Back to history. Peter Berg makes some cool stuff. Battlefield. I always say Battlefield.
Battleship,
Battleship.
yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, he's doing a docuseries for the History Channel. It's gonna be called Live to Tell. It's gonna be premiering January 10th. It's 8 1-hour long episodes that chronicles first-person accounts of recent U.S. Special Ops missions. One of the episodes is gonna be the actual survivor from Lone Survivor. The show's gonna use archival footage plus recreations. Sounds like it might be good. I mean, that's kind of what Peter Berg's good at with especially recently that like personal U.S. stuff, even counting Battleship, I guess. So yeah, I'm
Yeah,
assuming
aside
he'll be directing one of the episodes. It's kind of what he does with his TV stuff. Like he directed the pilot for Friday Night Lights and a couple other episodes.
Ballers.
I had to turn that off. Well, maybe I'll
Is
give
it
it another
really
chance.
that bad?
It wasn't that it was bad. It's just like I was like, oh, this show's out, and I already knew that it was being pitched as like the sports version of Entourage, except it's just The Rock and he doesn't have an entourage. And I was like, okay, yeah. And I like checked it out, and I couldn't get into it. I turned it off. Well, I'll check it out again. I
Yeah.
mean, The Rock on TV, that's not a bad thing.
Just The Rock in general.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but I was like, I've already seen HBO's Entourage. I don't want the sports version. Like, the Entourage was already kind of the sports version. You know how many times they had athletes on there? Yeah, this Peter Berg show sounds cool. Switching over to Showtime here, CBS, they just greenlit a docu-series called The Circus about the 2016 presidential election. So that's cool, I guess, if you're into that kind of thing. Maybe that'll compete against HBO's Veep for politically charged show.
A show that has to do with Donald Trump running for president. It could be hilarious.
Maybe.
Just saying.
Or sad, I don't know. Um,
Yeah,
Two-
yeah. Actually, either way, but either way, downright fascinating, right?
yeah, two final things here, Amazon related. Margaret Cho, she's set to star in an hour-long dramedy called Highland for the streaming giant. I guess that's one way to call them, the online store, marketplace. And it's going to be about a pot dispensary and a family that works there, I think it is. So the comedian is going to, if I remember correctly, she has like a midlife crisis or something, so she has to move back in with her parents and work at their store. Maybe it's good. I don't know. I'm not a fan of the hour-long comedy. I mean, this is being billed as a dramedy, but still, like, the reason I didn't like Orange is the New Black is because you can't draw laughs for that long on a consistent basis.
Yeah, no, I got you.
I saw this thing on the internet. Colorado apparently has, like, what was the name of it? It was called, like, a hot box vehicle. Like, there was a name for it, but that's what it was. And so it's, like, a roach coach that drives around the city and you can, like, get an app for. And it's about, like, meeting other like single like potheads and you like meet up and get in the van and get high and then whatever and like it's driving around all the while or something like that and I was like that's kind of cool. That's like, is that what happens when you legalize things that shouldn't be outlawed in the first place? It's like, because I mean, how's that any different than like a booze cruise or a party bus?
It's
You
not, no. Like,
It's like that's just really smart. Whoever has that fucking business license, really smart to capitalize on your state that way. Final thing I got here, Amazon renewed a whole bunch of things. Man in the High Castle's got a second season order along with Red Oaks and Hand of God, even though no one really liked that latter one. I heard it's really bad with Ron Perlman. But they also like just picked up like 5 new shows, so they got a lot of stuff coming next season. I'm really excited about Red Oaks. I think that's a streaming underdog that no one talks about. Maybe it's because it can't win awards because it's not a war contender. But like I was talking about Paper Towns being like the only high school, movie out there that like really harkens to that thing the other day.
now you got a show.
Well, sort of, but I mean Red X isn't about high school, but it has that that same
Well, is
feel
that
to
is
it.
that the college one or
Yeah,
yeah, the '80s one?
it's the 80s, but it's like Caddyshack. It takes place at this country club, and it's about the staff that works there, and then the patrons, and like partying, and kind of like, oh, you haven't seen Dirty Dancing, but like Dirty Dancing and Caddyshack with like a John Hughes Fast Times feel to it. Like
Gotcha.
it's very like of the time, of the era. It's not just, oh look, they're wearing 80s fashion and there's 80s music playing. Like it does feel like it could have been from there. And the kid from Submarine is the star in it, and
Nice.
he has really good charisma. So I would check it out if you're out there. But that's everything we got here. Like I said, it was a pretty short week. No one wanted to really drop a big news item when everyone just talking about Star Wars anyway,
Yeah, we're getting at
including
the end of
us.
the year. Like it's all gonna go soft for a while, at least till award season.
Yeah. I mean, we're not going to have anything big until I'm assuming the nominations for the Oscars are going to be
Yeah.
like January 7th or something like that. I think it's like a real dick move that for all the award shows, they don't announce when they're going to announce them until like the day before. Like tomorrow, 9 a.m. Eastern, awards nominations. Like it gives us a little bit less to talk
Well, it
about. And
always
then,
it comes out always on a Monday, I think. So by the
yeah,
time that we're talking about it, it'll be a week late, and we'll just be like, oh, so
how about
yeah,
that?
so
It's
yes,
like, look, there was 10 movies nominated this year again.
God, yeah, I just realized I don't have a good sense of what's going to get nominated this year. Yeah,
I
Bridge of
guarantee
Spies will
Star.
probably get there
I don't think so. I think Star Wars will though.
for Best Picture.
Yeah,
I'm not sure. Fury Road, that would be interesting.
Fury Road's definitely getting
I mean,
nominated.
yeah, for me, I would love it if the end of the tour got nominated, but I'm not so
I don't.
sure
Yeah,
it
I
will.
think it's
Yeah,
gonna be stuff like.
Room should get attention though.
I mean, I know that I haven't seen it, but I know that's more of the actor's movie.
Yeah, that better get some attention because that movie is so good. It's truly it's great. It's fantastic.
Well, I do want to see it, but I guess we'll find out when it happens. So thanks for listening. You can find us on a way too many ways on the internet. Not really, actually. Twitter and Facebook at Dollar Reviews. Additionally, our website is dollarreviewspodcast.wordpress.com. We have some archival stuff on YouTube. Don't look there. It needs to get fleshed out. I'm lazy. You can send us an email, dollar.review@gmail.com. You can tweet at us individually. I'm Brian Gillis.
And I'm Steven Mominex.
Thanks for listening.